We are just about to start Wise-ish, your power boost in the morning from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. Join me and some surprise guests as we meditate, optimize, and elevate on the America Meditating YouTube and America Meditating Facebook and Twitter. Join us. Everyone, welcome to your Spiritual Vaccine Hour, your online program of your favorite meditation museum, organized by your favorite little meditation group, the Brahma Kumaris. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. I hope today finds you well and thriving and in a place of really being uplifted. Yesterday, I was very, very moved by our program on returning to energy. And the irony is my energy has been taxed this weekend, Drama and destiny has a way of just showing things up for you just to make you check yourself. I tell you, it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. But yesterday touched me because of our paying that special time and honoring of George Floyd. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of outrage, and it's all valid. It's all valid. We've been through so much for the last 2-3 months. I mean, it's been like a tsunami of tragedies, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's losing your job, whether it's losing a family member due to the pandemic, the fear, the anxiety, and the fact that we are coming out of this sabbatical with rage and being outraged because things haven't changed. And that even though the pandemic might have been one of our biggest watershed moments, it's almost as if it didn't change us. It still made us the kinds of individuals that we are. So what's going on is that we have to really make some big shifts in our lives in order for us to move forward, to truly appreciate what the purpose of living is all about. There's a difference between having a desire versus living life of purpose. There's a difference in having desires versus living a life of purpose. And there are times where we are not aware of it, but there are desires within the soul, things that I want, unfulfilled feelings, unfulfilled agendas, and it's hurting the soul, and we start to blame people. There are things happening inside of me that's not fulfilled. I haven't been taking care of myself, so it's easy for me to deflect on somebody else the problem. You're like this. Oh, because of you this happened. Oh, some of us blame people even from an event that happened 20 years ago. We will say, oh, because so-and-so did this to me, I ended up in this state, because we're still carrying the thought and the vibration of the blame in our minds about people. Now, that's a big thing to consider, because are you one of those individuals that might be also blaming people at a mental level and maybe never telling it or telling them with your lips through words? It's like we're afraid of addressing what our vibration is creating, and I don't want to reduce the enormous tragedy and suffering when as a child we go through traumatic experiences. And I don't know anyone who hasn't gone through some element of trauma, whether it was the first time your parent yelled at you, slapped you, or even worse, when it becomes physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. It's all traumatic. You know why I call it traumatic? Because it goes against the original nature of the soul, which is peace and purity. And any time that energy inside of the soul gets attacked, it's traumatizing. Anytime we're around that field of energy. So sometimes we don't even know how to tell the person that what you said was wrong, what you did to me was wrong. But we stay quiet because of insecurity, because of economy, because maybe the person is more stronger than I am, maybe mentally, economically, physically. We stay quiet, but we walk internally blaming the person for the suffering and the sorrow that I'm going through. You know, we're all born with our karmas. It happens from the moment we enter the womb. Whatever we've been carrying as a soul, whether it's of previous births or whatever the situation might be. And we carry the energy, the sum total of the vibrational frequency of the kind of energy that we have been. We call it the sanskaras. The sanskaras in the Brahma Kumaris teachings says you carry with you the sanskars from birth to birth. If I was very angry in this lifetime and I didn't become peaceful, I carry the sanskar of anger in my next birth. If I was very afraid in my sanskars in this birth and I didn't sort it through, I didn't iron it out, I didn't neutralize it, I didn't cleanse it, the soul will carry the sanskar of fear in its next birth. And it gets revealed. You could have never ever you could have never ever seen a, give me something that we're usually afraid of. Let's say you're afraid of closed, tight spaces, but you'd never been in one, but whenever you go in it, it's very fearful. Where did the energy of that fear come from? You've never had the experience of anything traumatic happening in a small room, not in this lifetime. So where does the fear come from? I was remembering when I had to go to meet the Pope at the Vatican many, many years ago. I must have been in my early 30s. And I was there with another companion that we were traveling. And this is the person who took care of a lot of my, administrational information and traveled with me a lot. When I went to the Vatican, I've always had this very huge discomfort of just a deep fear if I were to pass by a guru, a priest, go inside of a church, a mosque, a synagogue. It was like there is a horror, like there is a fear. And I remember when I got transferred to Washington, I became friends with Dean Sanford Gardner. He was the dean of the Washington National Cathedral, which is the 6th largest cathedral in the world. And he and I somehow he was the only priest, the only person with a collar that I actually felt safe with. So we became very good friends, and even at his deathbed, he had called for me to come and see him in his final moments. And I remembered so clearly I'd brought a red fragrant rose from our garden just for him to smell. He took his last breaths smelling that fragrant red rose. Anyway, I used to go to the cathedral. It was the only cathedral I felt safe in too. But there were parts that I would go to and I was like, and again, I knew I had not had a bad experience of a church. I had not given anyone a bad experience of anything religious. But I didn't know where this fear came from. There was another time I was young in my spiritual journey. Our director of the Brahma Kumaris, Sister Mohini, wasn't able to go to speak at some church. And then she said, Jenna, you go on my behalf. And my heart just started to beat. And I was like, no, I can't go. I can't go. So why I'm telling you the story is I had no negative experience of anything religious in this particular lifetime. But the fear when I would be put in a position of that nature was overwhelming. So something in my past, I'm carrying those sanskaras. So similarly, we all carry our sanskaras. And if we've carried sanskaras and memories of the past, that we have unresolved issues, it's natural for us to be in lifetimes or even in this lifetime where we project what we don't want to see in ourselves, and we project what we want to negate, you know? So it could be the simplest of things that could happen, and individuals will blame them. Well, you didn't do this. Well, shouldn't you have done that? Well, that's because this person did it. Rather than, why did I create this experience in my life? And I have to say that to some extent we all have our blessings in different ways. Mine is, I don't blame people for nothing. I just want to find solutions. You know, if I'm uncomfortable and my peace is gone, that's on me. You said something wrong. You did something wrong. Or you didn't do what you should have done. But I am a mess. And instead of addressing the fact that you are not well, you start to talk about, it's because John did this, because Mary said that, because so-and-so did this to me 10, 20 years ago. That's where what blame does, it moves you from being responsible to finding your cure. Blame moves you from being responsible to finding your cure. Really important thing for us to acknowledge. But also, when we blame other people, at that time, I've decided to not be honest with me. I've decided I don't want to be honest with me, because when you're honest with yourself, it needs to accompany the virtue of courage. And not just courage alone, but it also needs to accompany the virtue, or the power rather, of discernment. So when I'm honest with the self, it's at that moment I'm also using the virtue of honesty, of courage. And the power that will travel with my courage is to discern. Now tell me, what is it that's bothering you in particular? Do you understand what I'm saying? So when we blame, we not only become dishonest with ourselves, but we also lose sight on what the real issue is. And when we deflect our issues onto other people, we create more karmic residue, more karmic burden. We create more heaviness. And that's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. Question is, why do we blame? Is it because I just don't have the courage to see myself as I am? Why do we blame? We shouldn't. We shouldn't blame others for anything. And even if we blame ourselves for stuff, I look at it to just say, let me be accountable. I did this. I dropped the cup. I messed up. I forgot to lock the door. I should have done that. The quicker you respond to where you need to be responsible for, the quicker the soul can move forward. We lose so much time blaming people for our own karmic energy that we are creating in our lives to give us an opportunity to check and change. Here's a meditation that I'd like to play for you to just take you into a place of your own personal healing and peace. Take a deep breath and think about it. How often do you really blame others for your stuff? How often are you doing that? Okay, release and just go into this process.
in this awareness of the sacred festival of God's incarnation. Om Shanti. Let me go on an inner journey. Going within, I come to the awareness of the eternal being that I am, a being of light, radiating light in the center of the forehead. I allow myself to feel the separate eternal entity that I am. I am a being of light, and this physical body is my amazing chariot, an instrument designed by nature to give me all the access I need to relationships, communication, contact with the world out there, and also allows me to share my thoughts, my feelings, all that I need to do to connect with others around me. Staying deep within, I connect with the store of peace that I hold within myself. I let my thoughts slow down and choose the one thought of peace. I am a being of light. I am a being of peace. And I connect to the one above, the Supreme, the Divine. As soon as I make the connection, I feel the warmth, the love, the joy of connecting with the eternal parent. But now, my parent knows my greatest need at this moment. And my parent surrounds me with an orb of light. It is a light of love, the light of purity, the light of truth. And this is my protection. Wherever I go, I carry this protection with myself. And staying at home allows me to strengthen this connection. And I extend that protection out to all those whom I love the most, so that they too are surrounded by this light of truth and purity and love. But it reaches out even further and extends across the entire planet, so that the entire human family, all forms of life, and nature itself experiences this safety and protection.
Everybody, welcome back. That was such a nice meditation video. We need to recognize ways and means to take care of ourselves deeper, to become more truthful, more honest about how we're showing up for ourselves and for each other. Again, like I shared with you, yesterday's session was so moving for me. It was all about energy, and I've been so under the weather these last 4 or 5 days. But it's as if I keep tapping into that part of my thinking, but I'm a soul and the body will go through its thing, but the soul is different. Similarly to the meditation and prayer we did for George Floyd yesterday. We can blame so many people for so many things, and yes, what people have done is wrong. But I mean, do I have a part to play here? And we need to keep asking ourselves this question: if all the things that are happening to us lately, karmically, at a collective level, is this all a revolving vibration of our sanskaras? Feelings, experiences based on my choices that I've been performing for so long that my karmic energetic field is attracting that. Sometimes one of the most painful things we can go through is a divorce. And when you go through a divorce, you can blame each other for so long. But then you might say to yourself, but I'm trying to protect the children. And then you justify blaming your spouse for what they've done in the marriage by saying that you want to protect the child, so this is why you're doing this, or you did this and you shouldn't have done that. You understand what I'm saying? So we sometimes walk around with that inner deception of justifying the blame game because we think the purpose behind my blame is more important than the dishonesty with myself. Ain't that something? Santos, did you hear that one? How you can blame people and not be honest with the self, and we can find the reason why that was important for me to blame them. Oh, because I'm looking out for the kids, but the kids also carry the sanskars of coming into that karmic situation as well. So I've been asking myself since the pandemic and since the departure of the soul of George Floyd, what is the collective karma for America lately? We have the highest death rates from the virus. Most cases, I believe, right? I think we have the most cases of the virus itself, but the death rate also the most cases, right? So we've led the world in that too, correct? Yeah. So we've had that. And I keep asking myself, for the last 3.5 years, I don't know, there's this collective karma going on in America. Have you been feeling it? It's not enough if I'm okay, but my neighbor isn't. It's still carrying a vibration that, what can I do? And even for us to say, they deserve it. They're like that. They're the worst neighbors. Look at that blame game. So if they're the worst neighbors, are you also a bad neighbor that you have such thoughts about them? So a lot of times with the blame game, and we might not know this, and it happens a lot with sometimes when the sanskar or the soul is in a state of denial and there's a lot of arrogance, is that whatever we project onto someone, it's somewhere lurking within ourselves. It's somewhere lurking within ourselves. I want to play you a really nice video by Brene Brown, which I think will give you some insights into our discussion tonight. And when you come back, just a short talking, and if you have any questions, please put them into the comments field, and then we'll end tonight with a lovely meditation. I am involved with a regional meeting that's taking place simultaneously as I'm with you tonight. So I'm going to have to make sure that we tune off a little bit early because I'm not able to participate in the meeting while I'm with you. But listen to this segment here with Brene. I think you're going to love it.
thing you want to know is whose fault it is. Hi, my name is Brene. I am a blamer. Let me just tell you this quick story. So this is a couple years ago when I first realized the magnitude to which I blame. I'm in my house. I have on white slacks and a pink sweater set, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee in my kitchen. It's a full cup of coffee. I drop it on the tile floor. It goes into a million pieces, splashes up all over me. And a millisecond after it hit the floor, right out of my mouth is this: damn you, Steve. Who is my husband? Because let me tell you how fast this works for me. So Steve plays water polo with a group of friends. And the night before, he went to go play water polo. And I said, hey, make sure you come back at 10, because I can never fall asleep until you're home. And he got back at 10:30. And so I went to bed a little bit later than I thought. Ergo, my second cup of coffee that I probably would not be having had he come home when we discussed. Therefore, and so the rest of that story is I'm cleaning up the kitchen. Steve calls, caller ID. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, what's going on, babe? What's going on? So I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I'm cleaning up the coffee that spilled all, like dial tone. Because he knows. How many of you go to that place when something bad happens, the first thing you want to know is whose fault is it? I'd rather it be my fault than no one's fault. Because why? Why? Because it gives us some semblance of control. But here, if you enjoy blaming, this is where you should stick your fingers in your ear and do the na thing, because I'm getting ready to ruin it for you. Because here's what we know from the research. Blame is simply the discharging of discomfort and pain. It has an inverse relationship with accountability. Accountability, by definition, is a vulnerable process. It means me calling you and saying, hey, my feelings were really hurt about this, and talking. It's not blaming. Blaming is simply a way that we discharge anger. People who blame a lot seldom have the tenacity and grit to actually hold people accountable, because we expend all of our energy raging for 15 seconds and figuring out whose fault something is. And blaming is very corrosive in relationships, and it's one of the reasons we miss our opportunities for empathy. Because when something happens and we're hearing a story, we're not really listening. We're in the place where I was, making the connections as quickly as we can about whose fault something was.
Fantastic. Wasn't that brilliant? Was she spot on or what? Can you imagine blaming your husband for dropping your coffee cup because he came in late the night before? I thought that was hilarious. And how many times do we do that? I've actually, because I'm around so many individuals from so many different backgrounds, I've seen so many folks deflect accountability to transform the way they're feeling on other people so often. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. I don't know if it's my many years of practice that has me so focused on, if I lose my peace, it's on me. When was the last time, Santosh? It was about maybe 2 months ago or something. I was in a meeting with someone and the person was speaking, and I don't know what it was, but my spirit got so weird on me. And that morning when we all sat to have breakfast together, I was just passing the bread, and that energy of the thought of the person, a little bit going on in my head. And I was just sharing with Sister Geeta and Santosh. I says, look at how this thought is still in my head. It's me. I'm having a problem with this situation, this person, this thing. And whenever you find that your energy of peace is disturbed, it has to be connected to either ego or attachment. And the blame game will just be like a natural unfolding as you move along, just going naturally, naturally, naturally. It's been very interesting. So, any questions? Is there anyone in your life that you're blaming? Yeah, I blame this for that. One thing is if somebody does something inappropriate, you go, what you've done was not right. But then when you blame them for the way you're feeling, that's not right. Because you're the only one in control of the way that you need to feel. And the whole study of Raj Yoga meditation is to make you become such a master of yourself that you stop wasting time in the blame game, criticizing, complaining, comparing, competing, being jealous, being angry, having expectations. The whole journey of Raj Yoga meditation, and why so many students are just into self-transformation for world transformation, is that your whole spirit has to reach a place of just being content with itself. This is the key. This is the key. All right. So, warm good evening again. If anybody has any questions. Portia, good evening, my dear sister. Nagashri, Louise, nice to have you. Susanna, nice to have you back. And Elisa, sweet knowing that you're around. Through positive thoughts and feelings, we can help reduce the powers of negative sanskars. Yes, and through remembrance of the divine. It's the quickest way of absolving the intensity of the feeling. It's sort of like, I've never had a wart, but I've seen a wart. But when you have a wart and you put an ointment on it and then it reduces it, when you have remembrance, meditation, yoga with God's light, it reduces the intensity of that experience that you're carrying in you, which I think is a beautiful sedative to the pain that we might be trying to conceal from others, but we really can't conceal it from ourselves. Yes. Hi, Denise Withers. Welcome on. Glad that you actually joined our vortex. Anybody on Facebook has a question? Are you blaming anyone? And I don't mean that you need to blame yourself. You need to accept, acknowledge to yourself what you're not taking care of. And then remember, honesty, courage, and the power to discern. So first, I need the virtue of honesty to check, why am I feeling like this? Why is it that every time I talk to this person or I'm in a meeting with this person, they get my goat? You ever heard yourself say that? They make me so upset. Once I caught myself saying to Sister Gita, gosh, you make me so frustrated. And I just said, what did I just say? She has no power over making me frustrated. So what I'm saying is that you have to keep checking yourself, because these sanskars are inside of you. And they're so ingrained in our personality that if we're not doing self-checking, forget it. You're going to be totally out of the zone of really empowering yourself and making yourself the best version. So many things get in the way. You blame people because you have a desire, but you don't think you have the qualifications to fulfill it. Because they took the job, I didn't get the promotion. Really? Did you really want the promotion? Well, what was the reason you wanted the promotion? Well, is there another job that you might want to do? One door's closed, is another one open? I was speaking to someone the other day, and they thought that their brother would have helped them to move their agenda forward. Came to pass that the brother is actually closing all the doors in a way almost as if they should fail. What are the reasons behind it? I don't know. We all had a meeting, was it yesterday, the day before yesterday? And it's a pretty big deal. And I guess, I don't know, this was my intuitive sense that maybe the brother is feeling a little bit of an ashamed feeling that he comes from a particular background and his relatives are still sort of in that genre, but he's gone all the way to the top. But he's not helping them at all. So what they thought was that he was going to help them, but all the doors are closed. So I told them, you can't blame him. That's his prerogative. He doesn't have to give you a dime for anything, but what do you want to do? You can put your whole life on complete pause for a whole life if you live a life blaming somebody else for the way your life is turning out. You can blame your government. You can blame your religion. You can blame anybody for anything nowadays. just to deflect what you need to do for you. Okay. Everyone's okay? Facebook.
Linda asking, can we guide others out of blame?
We can definitely help to guide others out of blame. One of the methods that I use, and hi Linda, Om Shanti, wonderful Linda. She's doing some great work with business and bringing them together to be more conscious-minded business. And she also does a lot of wonderful work for Unity Earth, which is going to be doing a huge caravan for Unity within the next month or so. So look out for them. The way that I will guide people, Linda, regarding this is I would ask questions. Well, you know, why do you think they did that? And what is it that it's triggering in you? Like, I would ask questions. That will be my only way of guiding them out of blame. That's one. And of course, sometimes I do try to distract them from being like that. I used to know a sister. She used to live with me for the first 4 years, and she was blame-a-rama. It was like she would touch a rose bush, and she would blame the rose for giving her the thorn to go in her finger. See, this is how she was. And I used to look at her. We were like, what's that, Oscar and Felix and Oscar? Was that the odd couple? We were like the odd couple. And I'm a little bit like that now with Sister Gita. I like light, she likes dark. I'll open the window, and Santosh just laughs all day long. I'm opening the window for fresh air. She's closing the windows. Do I blame her? Why do you want to be in dark? That's who she is, you know. So, I hope that answers your question, Linda. Raise questions to them with a lot of compassion, and be in compassionate listening when they're also conveying their message to you. And the second thing I try to do is to distract them from the continuation of repeating that story of blame, because each time they think about the blame game, it increases as an energy in their personality. So it's definitely a big thing. Hi Nicole, welcome back. Blame-a-rama, right Linda? Oh my gosh, this sister was such a blame-a-rama. We were like, it's so different in terms of personality. It happens. She might be a blame-a-rama, I might be a keep moving around Rama, you know. I don't know, you know. I can't sit still in terms of wasting a lot of my time. So, all right. Any other questions? I'm checking here on the site to see if there's anything here. All right. I think we're pretty good. Anything on YouTube, Santosh? Let me go here on the museum. Ashley, good evening, my sweet sister. Can you expand on the difference between boundaries, forgiveness, and blame? How to work through the stages. I had a talk with Alanis Morissette a while back, and Antonia was laughing at me, as she's our producer. And Alanis was sharing about the importance of having, you know, firm boundaries about what you will accept and what you won't. And I remember telling Alanis, it's actually on America Meditating Radio, you can listen to our conversation. I told her, I'm Pisces, I don't have boundaries. We cracked up laughing so hard. But one of the things that had come out of the discussion was, I remembered on maybe 2 or 3 occasions where I needed to put up my boundaries, and those were my lowest spiritual times. It was like I just didn't have the energy to give at that time. So I do recognize that boundaries are there to protect you, but not to entrap you. And I think that's really important for everyone to recognize it, because sometimes we put up the boundaries at a time when we are in a state of limitation, but they're not supposed to be up all the time. And the next thing is forgiveness. We all know, again, that forgiveness is a means of setting the soul free. And when I practice the element of forgiveness, I am also reducing the element of the arrogance that we sometimes hold in our hearts for not having the humility to forgive someone. When I'm humble, I will let them go. I worked on a project many years ago, and it required some finance, and it required a lot of trust and loyalty. I tend to enter all of my relationships with trust and loyalty, and I'm also given the title naive. I don't think I'm naive, I just trust. But the individuals that I was working with, I started to experience that there was some lack of honesty and transparency. And the moment that I recognized that, I severed my ties with them. And they thought I was really the bad person. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I told you one of the biggest things with me is trust and honesty, because there's a lot on the line, and whoever spends a lot of time or relationship with me is exposed to a very large world of relationship and growth and depth. And when I saw that dishonesty coming through, I think it was 2 times or so, I said, well, that's it, there won't be a third. And they became so against me for severing my ties. And I said, but I told you, if there isn't transparency and honesty, I can't continue in a relationship. I don't mind being in contact with you. I don't mind saying hello, but I can't have that relationship anymore. Was that my arrogance? I think so. I think so. Did I forgive them? I have. Have I forgotten? I have not. Until energetically they change, energetically I change, I don't see any of that ever becoming so smooth. So again, forgiveness is a form of humility. And sometimes you do set certain restrictions on yourself to say this, this, this. But then as you grow more mature, Ashley, you tend to kind of move on a little bit from that. And blame, as I told you, it's about accountability. So boundaries, I might be holding a particular limit right now, and I just need that space. Forgiveness, you definitely need humility for that. And blame, you need honesty, and you need accountability and courage. So this is how I see the 3 of those factors related. So I hope that helped, Ashley. Was that okay? I know trust is a major issue, and why it's such a major issue for us in relationships is because we have also reduced self-trust. So when you trust yourself, you won't have certain thoughts in your consciousness. And when certain thoughts enter your mind and they're against your original worth and value, then it meant you didn't trust yourself enough. So obviously when somebody comes to you with motives that aren't true, if they say something to you without the love and the respect that you're expecting, look at yourself. You do it to you all the time. And that's why human beings expect trust from other human beings so much, because we expect it from ourselves first and foremost, and we're not giving it to ourselves. Okay. All right, so any other thoughts before we move on? I'll go back to everyone's okay, having a good time? Thumbs up. Nicole, how do we create boundaries without erecting walls? So like I mentioned earlier, it's okay to put up boundaries. I told you the time that I'd put up my boundaries, it was the lowest period of my spiritual journey. I just didn't have it. But when I got my energy back, then I didn't need the boundaries, because my spiritual energy was my protection. That energy, that vibration that was spinning in my vortex would protect me from certain things. I have Antonia, who's like my guard, my angel, my mom, my uncle, my hammerer, the judge. Oh my gosh, she's definitely the judge. She comes after you. And Antonia keeps a lot of everything going for us. I mean, without her, I don't know how we would organize as well as we do, okay? And so Antonia's seen me interact with a lot of people. And she's just like the gatekeeper. She's like, sister, don't you see that they're coming to take advantage? I go, no one can take advantage. Because there's a sense of a spiritual protection in me. They might have that motive to take advantage. And yes, there are times that it has slipped. And there are times that people have not recognized the purity or the beauty of my effort and my investment in their lives, and they've wanted to make it into something gross, right? And even I've made mistakes too. But I'm just saying that she's seen so many people come into my vortex for various reasons. And she'll be so harsh and will say, you can't. But when my spirit is strong, that's my boundary. Your power in your spirit is a protective shield. So you don't need a wall based on ego or attachment or fear. But your spiritual wall becomes one that will help people to get over to their next destination. And that's the work that I know we all need to take. So when your spiritual power and your spirituality increases and that wall is of a support to help people to cross over to the other side, knowing that they have challenges, this is a good thing. This is a really good thing. Okay? All right. I hope that answered your question. Okay. All right. That was helpful, everyone? Good. How to keep someone's blame game from bringing you down. I know that sister, I told you, she would blame the rose for pricking her. And I was just like, oh my gosh. How do you protect yourself from somebody who keeps blaming? You have to develop an ability. I can only tell you that it took me a while to build my own energy of sovereignty, Tina, and I will say you will have to do the same. You go inside of the soul and connect to your original nature, the peace that you are. You connect to God, who is the ocean of peace. That's a big protection. When the person is going on and on and on, sometimes coming from that pure place, you can just say, to be very honest, over the years, I've heard you blame this person for such a long time. And my pure wish for you is to move on. It depends on where you are inside. The second thing is, if you don't have the energy, step away gently without judgment. The third thing, ask questions. Ask them questions. Ask them how it feels. Send them your good wishes and your pure feelings. They're just in a space right now that they don't know how to turn inwards. This is why when you ask them the question, it helps them to start to chip away inside. Okay? So I hope that helped a little bit, Tina. Is there a way to change our American behavior against racism today? What can we do? Please help us. I get calls from all over the world. I can't answer these questions. I think that one of the ways you can respond, Portia, is to let them know every country has gone through its dark days, and America's no less. But just say that I don't feel anymore it's about a black and white issue, but I think we've even evolved to a period now of what is right, what is wrong. If we're all God's children, what is right, what is wrong? I feel when we get caught up in the black and white issue, we still lose sight on a deeper power that's needed. Because if I'm in the blame game, I can't address the issues that are still happening inside of me. Now, racism, I mean, India has prejudice with the caste systems, don't even ask. Well, what if we transcended that and go, is the caste system in India right or wrong? It's wrong. Is the issue with racism, black or white, Hindu against Jews, is it right or wrong? It's wrong. Finished. If we try to declare each other, because we're black, we need to stand up. One of our wonderful friends from the UN, Denise Scotto, called. She's a Caucasian woman at the UN. And she says, I just wanted to call all my friends of color to just let them know I feel awful about what's happening. And is there anything that I can do? Is there anything I can do? I mean, how beautiful is that? So sometimes, Portia, even that, calling your friends, you know everybody from every different culture and background. You're the least prejudiced person on the planet. So sometimes just reach out to your colored friends. Tell your friends it's no longer about racism, everyone. It's about what's right and wrong, and this is wrong. This is wrong. So that we don't add to the negativity that is also going on in the world. All right, I'm going to have to end here because I do have to run. Crystal, I don't want their actions to cause me to also have bad karma when I wasn't aware of their actions until after the fact. That was an interesting point, Crystal. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, this is huge. And when we go back to a black and white issue, it gets so painful. It's painful. When we start to think about the black and white issue, the rich and the poor, the Hindu and the Jew, the Christian and the Muslim, we forget that even when I want to punish you and give you sorrow, is that right or wrong? If that comes from me. Remember the story I told you earlier? You could blame someone and justify your blame by saying, this divorce is like this, but we want to take care of the kids. It's the same thing. Anyway, I thank you so much for joining us tonight for another wonderful dose for your inner cure. Of course, I love to spend the whole night with you, but my regional meeting is still waiting and on hold. Know that we have the strength and the courage to pursue and do whatever we need to do. Never let go and never give up on yourself, nor on anyone else. But the first and foremost thing is change yourself. Because when I change, the world will change. Take good care. Much love to each and every one of you. Lots of peace, lots of healthy thoughts, positive vibrations. Stop blaming people. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
I allow my body to rest. I take a deep breath in, and as I breathe out, I release any tightness or tension that I'm holding in my body. I am becoming loose and free and relaxed. I allow my thoughts to settle as I prepare to meditate. I let my mind rest. I absorb the music into my soul. I listen to the gentle sounds. As the music soothes my mind. and I relax completely. Above me, I perceive a shining star. A star radiating infinite light from a central point. I am moved by the star's perfect beauty. The star's light is drawing me like a magnet, and I feel my spirit rising. Breaking free from my bodily restrictions, my spirit flies upwards towards the star. I'm floating in the freedom of endless space. The star attracts me closer to itself. I'm drawn even closer until I'm right by the heart of the star. I'm surrounded by a soft, silvery glow. I sense that this light has a living warmth which enters my spirit. I know this star is a gift from God, and through this star, God is caressing my spirit with light and love. Within this light and love, my spirit rests peacefully. I am peaceful. I am content. My spirit is whole. My spirit is healed through God's love and peace. as I absorb divine love. The light of God reaches every aspect of my spirit. I allow God's loving light into every dark corner. The light touches my fear. I feel the fear dissolve into a loving light of acceptance. I absorb loving divine light into my dark moods of anger, and I feel a growing easiness and tolerance in my spirit. The light touches my worry, and I let go of my concerns for the future. I let go of what happened in the past. And I become peaceful, carefree. Every aspect of my spirit is light and free. I have absorbed light and peace deeply into my spirit, and I radiate this light and peace outwards. I rest a while in the gentle, loving light of God.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sister Jenna, your host for our new America Meditating segment called Wise-ish. It's your power boost for the morning. It's for you to take your dose for your inner cure. Join us every day, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 ET. Don't forget, Take your dose. See you soon.